Welcome to Core Women Live. Thank you for joining me. This is my opportunity to feature some very special guests where they talk about their goals, aspirations, challenges, resiliency, wisdom. Join me as I get the opportunity to talk to people about their journeys. Thank you. Hey everyone!
Hey.
Welcome, Christina.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Welcome to the Core Women Live. Thank you so much for being here this morning. I know we just got off of a holiday. Well, today is a holiday, so thank you for being with me today. Gosh, you know, time flies for me. So everybody, I want to welcome Christina Meade. Woo! If you're here joining us, thank you on your holiday. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. But I felt like, hey, we have the opportunity here to talk. We have so much to talk about, Christina. Let's get right into this. Christina Meade is the founder of Nerdy Girl Success. Let's talk about what that is, your mission, and so forth.
You got it. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate everyone who is tuning in. Sorry, it's still a little early in the morning for us here.
It is.
So Nerdy Girl Success, we are a nonprofit. We serve high school girls and young women into college. And our mission, essentially, what I explain is our BHAG, our big, hairy, audacious goal is to get more women into decision-making positions, thus impacting the way the society views women and our role within it. And so we see our role of how to make that happen is supporting young women in their journey into those positions. So it's part career exploration. And we focus not just on the careers that the girls are interested in, but also introducing them to careers that maybe they don't know exist or aren't typically introduced to girls. So if you kind of think about the trades, that kind of thing. And then the other part of our focus is on with the support piece of teaching them what we call the soft skills for long-term career success. So negotiation skills. Once you get hired, how do you determine the company culture and why is that important? How do you find a mentor? Why is that important? Really helping them through that, and then having that mentoring as well with some really high-powered career women.
Oh, that is so awesome. Okay, where did you come up with this idea? What was the epiphany for this? What was like, okay, I'm going to start this. I've got the courage and I'm ready to do this. What was that for you?
I always feel like I need to have like this really pretty story to tell with when I get that question. But it's really kind of convoluted and messy. I mean, I was a former high school teacher, taught science, high school and middle school. And around 2009, I left education. My position was being phased out. I was in a science instructional specialist. That position was being faded out. My husband had a business that he just started. So I was like, oh, I'll go and help with that. And then just within that and looking for role models and people to kind of learn like, what's this whole thing about, and going networking. Just at the time when I was doing that, and I guess maybe it was the groups that I was finding, but seeing that most of the people who were in the room didn't look like me. Most of them were gentlemen and that kind of thing, and them being business owners. And so just not seeing a lot of female representation there, and then trying to look outside of that and for like within other companies. And again, seeing that like, wow, everybody that I'm seeing, it's really predominantly male. And so just getting a little frustrated with that. And then just as I was getting frustrated with that, thinking about other things. And so thinking about like remembering the stories that my mom told me about, like things that would happen to her when she was in high school, like being told that she couldn't go for a particular career because she was a girl. She wouldn't be good at math because she was a girl. And my grandmother sharing similar stories. And then thinking back and like, I had something like that happen to me when I was in high school and happened to me when I was in college. And then seeing those same kind of things happening, with the girls that I taught as well. And so all of that just kind of sitting and festering. And then it's like, okay, so then if this is a situation that I see happening, then it's like, what am I going to do about it then? Kind of having that philosophy of you're either part of the problem because you're letting it exist, or you're part of the solution and then it's like, okay, well, I want to be part of the solution. then what can I possibly, what skill set do I have? What can I possibly bring to the table
Right.
to try to remedy the situation? So.
Right. Well, let me ask you, how did you make, well, first, let me back up here. When you were a teacher, did you find that as a teacher, you were also encountering these people with the same mindset that they were teaching young women or young girls, and they were like, "Hey, it's okay. She doesn't know math, or it's okay that she doesn't, she doesn't really need these, or she needs those soft skills or whatever." Did you still see, which are really important, actually?
Yeah.
So it's like, what did you find, even in the milieu, the teaching milieu, from the other educators?
I'll be honest, I don't remember it being, while I was in it, so blatantly put like, she's a girl, so that's why, there was, looking back now, you can see it's a lot of times it's really subtle things that are done. And a lot of like what I saw was like, I taught pre-AP and GT. And so when I taught 7th grade, like when I left teaching, I was in middle school, so I was teaching 7th grade. And so just seeing girls who were uber smart, dumbing down their intelligence when they were around boys.
Wow.
So that kind of thing, and not always raising their hand and not always wanting to be the center of attention necessarily in the front of the classroom, or, giving the answers and that kind of thing. So it's that kind of behavior. Now, once I've been out and having more of these kind of conversations with people, I'm finding them sharing things. Like I had a friend of mine, she was last year, she was telling me about like one of her clients, and they both have teenage children. The client happened to have a daughter and a son, but he was talking about the daughter and commiserating about how math class, well, she's just not going to get it because she's a girl. Like literally those words, according to my friend, came out of her client's mouth about his daughter.
God.
And this was, last year, 2020. So it's kind of like, what?
Whoa.
So it is for those people who, because I know that like there were a lot of times too where I was just kind of like, oh, that's that's not happening anymore or whatever. A lot of times too, when I was in education, that isn't really a big problem anymore. We're kind of past that now. And just no.
No, we are not.
No, we're not. Yeah, no. I know. And I think a lot of times too, people see like, oh, well, because there's the story, you've got, she's the first woman CEO of this company, or that kind of thing. And so people think that, oh, so we're there. And it's like, no, granted, yes, she's the first female CEO of that particular company. But when you look across like all of these companies, that there still isn't that representation kind of thing, And so while we're making grounds, we still have a lot of ground to cover.
We do, especially, with young women and the mindset and the modeling and also the diversity and bringing that diversity to the table as well.
Yeah.
So not only are we women, but there's a diverse group of women out there who all need to be at this table, right? And so
absolutely,
one of the things that is really curious to me is, how do you involve the parents? How do you involve the educators? Because it comes down to many times modeling, so what these young girls see is also what they're going to be doing. So what is modeled for them is what they feel comfortable doing, or gives them the courage to do what they do. So for instance, our VP, Obama's spouse, Joe Biden, I mean, all these people that are out there that are leaders, how are they sitting at your table and modeling? How are you bringing them into the fold? These moms and these men, even, where they can like model and change that mindset. That's important.
No, absolutely. And so within that, so we've got like Nerdy Girl Success, the core, and that's the working with the young women. And everybody who is teaching the young women, everybody that's in front of the room is a woman, right? As of right now, because representation really is like, you need to see the women who are in those positions and things like that. The place then that we've got where we're doing a little bit more of trying to talk to moms and dads and men and women is through covering topics like that with the podcast. So doing that piece right now. So, cause we are a very young, we've got big plans. We're a very young organization that we're going to be 3 in August. And so this is just kind of setting the foundation a little bit. Like we have got the plans for where it is, we do like mother-daughter events and that kind of thing. We have them in, but we've got some plans where we're wanting to then do parent kind of education activities, where we're wanting to even do a piece where we're in with businesses and helping out with like that diversity and inclusion and how that kind of stuff happens. So it isn't, we're a little bit, our growth plan is definitely bigger than just work. And I say just, that's not really a very nice thing, but it's bigger than working with young women. It's actually, it is designed to expand out.
Right. Well, and that's all about, that is working with young women, is that whole dynamic around it. Right. So, so for instance, like Girl Scouts, and who runs those troops? It's many moms or caretakers or, so it's bringing them in the fold. And one of the things that I learned as a community-based leader is bringing all those people to the table, because they're the ones who are going to support this process, right? It's because they're the ones who are going to be modeling. They're the ones who are going to be, rooting for these young girls. And hopefully there are more people at the tables doing that, because it is so important. I love what you're doing here with Nerdy Girl Success.
Thank you.
You are 3 years old. I know how difficult it can be in the nonprofit industry. It is tough. So if anybody's out there and wants to help Nerdy Girl Success, go help Nerdy Girl. If you're a grant writer, hey. I have these lives, I do these podcasts because I really believe in the process of, supporting other women in what we're doing out there in community, bringing y'all to the table and making sure that we're supporting community. It is so important because we are the models. We are the models for those young girls, for our young boys, for our, for our young folks out there. And so we've got to bring them to the table too. I mean, my goodness, the young woman who did the speech during the inauguration. Yes, she is fabulous, right? Yeah. So, I mean, there's just so many, and there's so many young women out there just needing the opportunity. And I think it's organizations like your own that gives them the courage to say, I can do this. And that's the whole thing too, is where do you fit into Nerdy Girl Success? Talking about courage, taking that next step. So how does that look for you? I know before the quarantine, we had talked earlier and you had said that you had an event, correct?
Yeah.
So how did that go? And how are you pivoting with that, the events now?
So obviously we're here in the Houston, Texas area. And so obviously, you're starting, so everything is local. And so we have a signature event that we do twice a year with high school girls, and it's called the Career and Leadership Summit. Kind of like a career fair on steroids. We do a lot of stuff. They learn about careers. They've got keynote speakers, breakouts, all that. And so we have it in the spring and in the fall. And so we were planning to have it in April, the beginning of April, and everybody's got the story, and then COVID, and it's kind of like, well, all right. And so, I mean, and just like for me personally too, like, my grandmother, like prior to that, the month prior in March, my grandmother had a stroke. She was living with us. My grandmother had a stroke. We were 3 weeks quarantined in the skilled nursing facility. I was there with her. And so all of that leading up to like, what in the world am I going to do? And, having those conversations with myself, it's like, just sidebar Nerdy Girl Success, just sidebar this, just put it on pause. Maybe this is just the universe saying like, just, nope. Not right now. And I decided to say like, if this is something that keeps coming up in my mind, like I can't stop thinking about it, then I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And so we pivoted, and I turned it to being a virtual, I had no idea what I was doing, doing a virtual summit instead. And so I got probably about a total of 50 women. I had about 40 career interviews, and then we had about 10 workshops. We had a panel discussion also done, and we rolled it out over 4 days. I spent most of April and May recording all, because most of it was pre-recorded, recording all of those interviews and everything like that myself. Got it up on the website. And honestly, when we had, we were in 2 high schools, had a club in 2 high schools. So I figured, like when I did the registration, send it out to those teachers, that those girls would sign up, that kind of thing. So, okay, we'll have about 40 girls. That's cool. Here in the Houston area, that's cool. Yeah. So when the registration went live, and the first couple of registrations were actually from Washington State. Okay. Say what now? And we actually ended up with 93 registrations from all across the country. And what was really kind of cool was that in January 2020, at our board meeting, we talked about our growth plans. Okay, so where do we see Nerdy Girl Success going? And so it was, in the next 3 to 5 years, we're going to be statewide. The next 5 to 7 will be nationwide. And then within the next 10 years, we'll be international. And by June of 2020, we were at least nationwide with the girls that we were serving. And they have continued. Many of them have continued. We kept doing virtual events. Each month we did a virtual event. And a lot of those girls continue to follow us as well. And so, and into then we did an event, the summit again, virtual in November. We had 73 girls, including from Canada, the UK, and Nigeria.
Right.
So, it's
that's fantastic.
It's been a mixed bag of emotions with COVID and everything like that, because that definitely, sped up the timeline for us of thinking about okay, how do we best serve these girls in all of these different countries and everything. So yeah, it's been interesting. We're also in the background now figuring out, okay, because we've got little pockets of girls in different areas of the country and everything. It's okay, once things really do open up for real, how are we on the ground there, to continue what we're doing besides just being an entirely virtual company right now. So,
yeah, I mean, really, there is a shift, where people are like, hey, now we can do things so virtually. And yet there's going to be boots on the ground, so to speak, that are needed. And so in community, and yes, there are some really great, and we can talk about this later, but there are some really great organizations out there working with young girls right now that are doing something similar, but different. And, they're a great model for what they've been doing, with boots on the ground. So, but so when COVID did hit, Christina, I know, and your grandmother had a stroke, and you had family living with you, and you're juggling all this, and you're recording those videos. How were you? I mean, that's a lot to do. That is a lot to do. How were you taking care of yourself?
I'm going to be honest, I wasn't. I was not. There was not the time in the day. I was the primary caretaker for my grandmother. My mother also lives with us and has debilitative arthritis, and so she needs assistance. I'm just trying to take care of them, the house, and everything like that. It's just, and then trying to get everything together for Nerdy Girl Success. I mean, there were days when I went to bed where I was like, I think I'm going to expire. In all honesty, just so after that summit was over and just really feeling that level of just burned out, it just became it's okay, so I really cannot continue to exist like this. And so finding little things to do, like making the time to, do some meditation, doing some of that, just taking the time to just zone out. If you've got a day where you just zone out, that is your body saying, shut it all down, my friend.
Shut it down.
Shut it down. And being okay with that, because when I would start to feel prior to that, I would feel really bad. I'd beat myself up about you cannot take this time. You can't sit here and zone out. You've got too much to do. Pull up your big girl panties, Christina, and get it together or whatever. And just, like I said, after that, I just can't.
Yeah.
So.
for high achievers like us, and for those people who have these goals, and we want to do so much and we want to help others, sometimes we do need to help ourselves. And that means taking that step back, sitting in silence for a minute, just having some downtime and not feeling guilty, as you said, about it. Because a lot of times we just like are boom, boom, punch. It's like, no. Don't do that. Don't beat yourself up. Like really just, be okay with embracing the zone out time.
Yeah.
We all need it, right? We all need it. And we've all been there in relation to just going so fast. And right now it's really interesting. And I don't know if you found this, but almost finding ourselves more busy. More busy because of everything's happening in your workspace.
Yeah.
So meaning you're working from home, you're doing everything virtually and digitally, that your family is around you, your spouse is around you, your caretaking still, everybody's around you. So you're laughing because you know exactly what I mean.
Yes.
Right? So how do you, because there's so much circling around us constantly, how do you actually find space in your area for yourself to focus?
That's a big open window right here too, right? Like this is my office. I'm like, I can't escape it. No, it's getting up early in the morning and having that time to myself where everybody else is asleep.
Yeah.
And I can just kind of like, it's like, okay, do my little meditation, have my nice cup of coffee, read a little bit, journaling, that kind of stuff. So really just trying to carve out the time of the day and finding the space to do that really has been life altering, to be honest with you. It's kept me from killing my husband.
Not the kids, not the grandmother, not the mom.
No, I gave my mom enough grief when I was a teenager that I'm like, nope. But my husband, no, I'm just kidding. He is, God love him. He is amazing. But yeah, it has been, there have been some times where I'm just kind of like, I just need to leave me be for a minute.
Right. No, and I talked to somebody that I coach, and I said, how do you, because as we were talking, her husband was coming in, her kids were coming into her room, it was just constant. And I said, how do you actually, and where do you find the space in your home to actually work? Where do you find your space?
Yeah.
Your silent time, your step back, and be okay with that. And then after we were done talking, she was like, oh yeah, we had a conversation. It was everybody come to the table. This is what's going to happen. I'm like, good for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we also need that space. Oh, and look it.
Yes, that is. Think of having your own space.
So
my cats are like, yep, every space is ours. Thank you so much. We let you stay here.
That's a cat's personality.
Because he's now hopping onto the couch that has the dog. So I'm waiting for that disaster to.
Oh no. Okay. Well, we better move forward here. So what is happening with Nerdy Girl Success in the coming days? I know you've got a lot going on. So what's going on there?
Oh, thank you. Yes, we have. So every March we do our women's conference and fundraiser. It's our annual fundraiser. And so that is happening. Since we've talked, we actually moved it back a little bit. Okay. So it's actually going to be March 26th. It's a Friday. And we have got an amazing speaker. Her name is Janet Stovall. The theme of the conference is the same in line with International Women's Day, which is Choose to Challenge. Mm-hmm. And so what we are doing within that is asking women to share, what is it that you choose to challenge? Is it something you want to choose to challenge within yourself, within society, that kind of thing? And so the talk is going to be centered on, because Janet, when I was talking with her, she's like, if you're going to choose to challenge something outside of yourself, you probably first need to challenge yourself. Finding that courage, that strength, that kind of thing, resiliency in order to be able to attack's probably not a nice word, to rectify things. Mm-hmm. And so that's going to be the conversation there, a little bit of that. And then we're going to have breakout sessions where you're actually going to be meeting with people who have similar interests to you and taking what you've learned from the talk and what you want to do and devising a plan. Like, this really is a place where we're trying to help support people in their grassroots efforts to fix what it is that they see that might be possibly broken. And there are different ways of doing that. It can also be like just finding ways to celebrate women and their achievements within your community, be it at your workplace, be it in your neighborhood or whatever, and moving forward with that, or, celebrating the male allies that we have, that kind of thing. So honestly and truly, that's what we're gaming to do. We're also, like I said, it's a fundraiser. And so we've got sponsorship opportunities, vendor opportunities, and it's going to be in a really cool, it's not going to be, it is a virtual conference, but it's going to be on a different platform than like doing a Zoom. Not to bash Zoom. Zoom's great. But it's going to be a really cool platform where you'll be able to navigate within it. Like, you see a floor and be able to go into rooms and have hallway conversations if you want to, and that kind of thing. So,
so cool.
I know I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
About the new platform that we're using to do the virtual events. And then just about the topic that we're going to be discussing. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to helping support people in their desire to, kind of make some good and lasting changes in the areas, make the world a better place for everybody.
Oh, that's fantastic. It sounds like a fantastic event. So are you having like a silent auction?
Oh, yes, we are. We have a silent auction.
Okay.
Yeah. So we got and so your ticket, your ticket gets you entrance, obviously, to the event, but then you also get a t-shirt that is designed by one of our girls. So excited about it. And then you get 2 raffle tickets, and your ticket is a donation to, it's treated as a donation to Nerdy Girl Success. So it goes to help fund, because all of our programs are free for girls.
Nice.
It helps fund and keep all of those programs that we're doing for girls to be free for them, including like when we're in clubs and stuff like that. When we're back in the high schools, we generally meet with girls at lunchtime and that kind of stuff. So we provide lunch for them. And when we meet after school, we provide dinner for them. So silent auction is going to be happening as well. And again, those monies will go towards the donation for those programs.
Gotcha. Okay. So there is a lot that is included with this ticket. That sounds really fantastic. Now, where can people sign up for this?
Oh, you go to nerdygirlsuccess.com/choose.
Okay. So nerdygirlsuccess.com/choose. And even if they forget to go to choose, somewhere on nerdygirlsuccess.com, there'll be like the conference registration, just right on the front page. All right. So nerdygirlsuccess.com/choose, but nerdygirlsuccess.com, folks. Okay. So if you were looking for folks to help you, would that be interns, maybe college interns, maybe high school interns? Who do you look for interns?
So we actually we're moving into the next little piece with supporting girls, because we have a teen advisory board, and those girls have expressed an interest in getting opportunities to learn job skills, get experience, leadership experience, and that kind of thing. So we have got, the board is broken into different areas: fundraising, marketing, communications. And so what we're going to be doing is then having volunteer opportunities for those girls. So that way they're doing the podcast. They're learning how to be a podcast host, how to produce it, newsletters, reaching out to fundraisers, that kind of thing. So developing the events, that kind of thing. So they're really starting to get some of those experiences, because some of our girls have graduated from high school and they're like, I'm trying to apply for a job.
Yeah. And
they all want me to have experience. And it's like, well, I can't get the experience until I have a job. Right. And so this, like I said, so we developed the volunteer opportunities for them. And again, that helps them learn those skills and everything like that. So,
right. Absolutely. And I ask that because I take on interns myself for Core Women, so that students can learn those practical skills that they can apply and not feel so like they have this imposter syndrome when they go out into the world. They feel like they have something to offer and feel like they have practical skills that they can apply. And so I love the whole idea and concept of really getting young women, young men, really interning so that they can gain those skills. So that's something that's really important to me. And I know with a nonprofit, that's bringing those folks that you're actually targeting to the table, and that you want to support. So I love that you're doing that. Now, again, folks out there, nerdygirlsuccess.com. Go to that page, check it out. Now, are you looking for anybody to be on your board, or you got a pretty full board right now?
We have, so all of our board positions are full. However, looking for committee members.
Committee members. Okay.
Yes. So within marketing, within fundraising, within communications, all of that. Because again, it's a people who want to give back, but then also, again, you'd be working with the girls and kind of, so that way we can break them into teams, that kind of thing, and working with the girls to help them learn those skills, and have, work pieces to be able to show.
Right.
And also just the life lessons that happen within that, and learning what it's like to have a mentor and that kind of thing. So
awesome. So great. Now, if you were to give 3 tips to, let's say, girls out there, what would be like your 3 main tips that you could give youngsters, give young girls in regards to mindset, courage, what would they be?
So one piece of advice that I always was giving to my students when I was teaching, was to embrace your inner geekdom. And that means, like, in other words, embracing exactly who you are. And it's hard, especially when you're a teenager, it's hard to not care as much as what the outside noise is saying about who you should be. Because the sooner you really embrace and enjoy who you are, the happier you start to be.
Yes.
So really doing that, that's one piece of advice that I always gave. My second piece of advice that I have started giving now after having personal experience is taking business classes. Even if you don't ever think that you want to own your own business, taking some, even if it's just basic, it helps you shift your mindset. And that then in turn really will help you within your career, even if you're going to be staying in corporate America. And the reason why I say that is it gets you to start thinking about things from the perspective of a business owner. And that can be really important when you are trying to go for a promotion, when you're trying to negotiate a raise, because then if you know the perspective of what it is that they think is important for their company, you then come to the table of like, hey, this is how I can, with my skill set, how I personally can help this company reach their bottom line and reach all of the goals that they're trying to achieve. And when you can have that kind of conversation rather than just, hey, I've been here for 10 years and so I think I deserve it, that really can shift that conversation and has a lot of power in helping you get the things that you need to have when you're trying to do those promotions and negotiate for salary.
I love that.
Those are 2 big ones. I can't really think about.
That's okay.
The third one, I'm not really sure.
Those are great. Now, my last question for everybody that I have on my live show as well as on my podcast is, what are your words of wisdom that you can put out there today? I know.
Wow, my words of wisdom. Gosh, right now, especially in today's climate, just be nice to one another. I mean, try to think about, and that's one of the things that sometimes I think I do maybe to a fault, is just if somebody is acting a particular way, try to figure out why. I'm like, there's got to be a reason why somebody's acting like that. So maybe they're hurt, that kind of thing. And so just being nice and having compassion for one another, giving them the benefit of the doubt kind of thing, I think is something that would go a long way. Like we've got, our 2 nieces are having a little bit of a conflict right now. It's just kind of like, just taking a moment, just take a step back and look at it from the other person's point of view. I think feelings will get resolved much quicker. So.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for those words of wisdom. And again, folks, if you're here watching this today, this is Christina Meade, the founder of Nerdy Girl Success. Go check out her website at nerdygirlsuccess.com. Also, go check out her event that's happening March 26th.
March 26th. Yes, ma'am.
March 26th. And again, thank you for being here with me today on the Core Women Live. Christina.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you. And You know what? We are out. But I know. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.